It was a cold December evening in 2013 in the quiet town of McLeod, Oklahoma. The holiday season was in full swing, but for Bradley Davis, a 33-year-old Marine veteran, the festive atmosphere was overshadowed by a lingering tension at home. His mother was recovering in the hospital from hip surgery, and he had come to stay the night at the trailer she shared with his stepfather, 58-year-old Denver Lee St. Clair. The two men, despite their shared connection, had never seen eye to eye, and that night, their simmering animosity would reach a fatal boiling point. Inside the modest trailer, a verbal altercation erupted between Davis and St. Clair. Sinclair, in a foul mood, began to hurl insults about Davis's mother. The words stung, igniting a fury in Davis. He accused his stepfather of being a bully, and the argument quickly escalated. According to Davis, St. Clair swung at him, and in the heat of the moment, Davis fought back. What happened next was a horrifying twist that no one could have anticipated. In a bid to humiliate St. Clair, Davis resorted to an extreme prank, an atomic wedgie. This wasn't a schoolyard joke, but a malicious act of pulling St. Clair's underwear over his head and securing it around his neck. The elastic band of the underwear cut into St. Clair's throat, causing him to gasp for breath. Davis, believing he had subdued his stepfather, took a photo of the humiliating scene. But the prank turned deadly when the band of the underwear strangled St. Clair, suffocating him. The aftermath was gruesome. St. Clair lay motionless, and the reality of what had occurred began to sink in. Davis called 911, but it was too late. The authorities arrived to find St. Clair dead, his body bearing not only the signs of strangulation, but also blunt force trauma to the head, injuries that indicated the altercation had been more violent than Davis initially described. As the investigation unfolded, Davis's claims of an unintended death were met with skepticism. The photos he had taken and the severity of St. Clair's injuries suggested a level of premeditation and brutality. The prosecutors argued that the atomic wedgie was not a simple prank gone wrong, but a deliberate act of violence. Davis, they contended, had not only fought with St. Clair, but had taken a perverse satisfaction in his stepfather's suffering, evident from the photographic evidence he had captured. Facing overwhelming evidence, Davis pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter. He admitted to causing his stepfather's death, but maintained that he had never intended for it to happen. Despite his plea, the judge was unyielding. The nature of the crime, combined with Davis's actions during and after the incident, led to a harsh sentence. In 2015, Davis was sentenced to 30 years in prison, a punishment that reflected the court's view of the crime's severity. The story of the atomic wedgie death quickly spread, capturing public attention due to its bizarre and tragic nature. This case highlighted the potential lethality of actions that might seem juvenile or harmless, and underscored the devastating consequences that can arise from domestic conflicts. In the quiet aftermath, the small town of McLeod was left to grapple with the shock and sadness of the incident. For many, the case of Bradley Davis and Denver Lee St. Clair was not just a story of a prank gone wrong, but a stark illustration of the thin line between anger and violence, a line that, once crossed, can lead to irrevocable tragedy. Sarah Boone's life was forever changed on February 24, 2020, when she made a frantic 911 call reporting her boyfriend, Jorge Torres Jr., was dead. She claimed they had been drinking and playing a game of hide-and-seek, during which Torres hid in a suitcase. She said she fell asleep, forgetting about him, and discovered him unresponsive the next morning. When police arrived at the couple's apartment in Winter Park, Florida, they found Jorge Torres Jr. deceased inside a blue suitcase. At first, her account of the events seemed plausible, albeit tragic. She insisted they were both heavily intoxicated, and what had started as a playful game had ended in unintended death. However, as investigators delved deeper into the case, her story began to unravel, revealing a much darker reality. Evidence collected from her cell phone starkly contradicted her initial claims. Disturbing videos found on her phone showed Torres trapped inside the suitcase, pleading for his life and repeatedly telling her that he couldn't breathe. Her responses to his desperate cries were chillingly callous. She taunted him, saying, "For everything you've done to me, stupid," and, "Oh, that's what I feel like when you cheat on me." These videos depicted a scenario far removed from a tragic accident, suggesting deliberate cruelty and malice. The autopsy conducted on Torres revealed significant injuries that further cast doubt on her story. Torres had a bruised eye, a cut lip, and various other injuries that were inconsistent with simply being trapped in a suitcase. These findings suggested that there might have been a struggle before Torres ended up in the suitcase. Her initial explanation did not align with the physical evidence, and her demeanor in the videos painted a harrowing picture of intentional harm. She was subsequently arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Her legal journey has been fraught with challenges from the outset. She has faced multiple changes in legal representation, with several attorneys withdrawing from her case, citing irreconcilable differences and conflicts of interest. She herself has expressed frustration with her legal counsel, often writing letters to the judge overseeing her case to complain about her attorney's lack of communication and dedication to her defense. As the investigation continued, more details about Boone and Torres's relationship came to light. In June 2018, she was arrested on a battery charge of strangulation against Torres, and he was also charged with battery following an incident at their home. Sarah Boone's defense claims her actions were a result of prolonged abuse and psychological trauma inflicted by Jorge Torres Jr. They intend to present evidence of mutual domestic violence to explain her behavior on the night of his death. However, videos on her phone, where she taunts Torres and ignores his pleas for help, suggest deliberate cruelty rather than self-defense. This evidence poses a significant challenge to her defense, strengthening the prosecution's argument and highlighting the dangers of domestic violence. The trial will explore these complexities,